$20,000 in gas. And that's pretty crazy for one flight, right?
Yeah.
And
plus pilots, plus landing fees, plus
so that
the
was
jet
like
maintenance.
the content, and all of a sudden it drew a bunch of pilots. Hey, I'm working, I'm trying to find a job. How do I become a Gulfstream pilot? And it's like, we're talking thousands of messages as I grew, like quickly.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Today I have my good friend, Curtis Marker with us. Curtis has done everything from corporate aviation. He's flown in the airlines, and now he's in the investment real estate space with Captain Capital. I've known Curtis for, I think, almost 20 years now when we went snowboarding one day with Mike Trebby, and it's amazing to see the progress he's made. So I hope you enjoy the show. Super excited to have him, and let's dive into it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I know our schedules have been, we're like two ships passing in the night or whatever the saying is, but thanks for finally making it in.
Yeah, glad to make it work. As a pilot, the schedule changes daily.
Well, exactly right. So, let's, before we dive into the real estate side of things, I think it'd be great to talk about your corporate aviation career, your airline career, just your time as a pilot. You come from a family of pilots. Dad's a pilot, brother's a pilot. You went into the airlines and then corporate aviation, or you were kind of doing those in parallel. So tell us where you started, how you got into it, and then we'll kind of take it from there.
Yeah, as you know, it's kind of the family business. I was actually a financial advisor, and I did some accounting into financial advising before I was a pilot.
Amazing.
And then I realized I don't want to work in an office under like commission sales pressure. I liked helping people with financial plans. I like the number. I'm a numbers guy. And I realized I don't want to do commission sales, and I don't want to be stuck in an office. Literally, it was like 7 days a week because you're a commission guy. So I asked my dad, even though I knew I wanted to be a pilot, we couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford it. And it's expensive.
It's expensive to become a pilot.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
You spend anywhere from 60 to 150,000 depending where you're at in the country and how you go about it. But
yeah.
So I decided, you know what? I don't want to do a commission sales job. So I went to flight school. And like you, I started when we met. I was flying a G3 in corporate aviation. It started out as a great job.
Yeah.
Then the schedule changed to like 28 days a month, and I was engaged at the time, and I couldn't surf, and I was like, wow, this isn't the job I want.
Yeah,
so,
living out of a suitcase, going from one hotel room to the next can get tiring.
Yeah, and as a lower time or newer pilot, it was hard to find the job you really wanted. Like my friends had those jobs. They're like, oh no, I work like 8 days a month and I'm in Cabo and I'm in the Bahamas. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's not my gig, you know? And when you're trying to find a new gig, they really go off experience, and I was low experience.
Yeah.
Because of insurance reasons and things like that.
You start low man on the totem pole, and you got to find someone who actually trusts you to throw you in the right seat so you can build that time so you can get hired by other people, right?
Yeah, it was a great first gig that I had, and it helped me throughout my career. I learned a lot because you're flying a fast jet.
Yeah.
And then I just decided I wanted control over my life. And I called all my friends that flew corporate and airlines. And I decided I should go to the airlines, took a massive pay cut, went to a regional airline. And I learned a lot there, but I had control over my schedule for the most part. I knew going in to being a pilot, I want to fly airplanes, make $300,000 or $400,000 a year as a captain at an airline, and invest all my money in real estate and get some financial freedom.
Yeah, exactly
and that's literally what I do almost today. Although I'm not a captain at the airline, I chose to go the private route. But
well, and so you built all that time, you had all the experience. When you're flying for private owners, you're flying their private jets, they want to see that experience. I think that's something that really gets people excited, especially when you're the captain of the airplane, not, maybe not SIC, second in command, sitting in the right seat. So at what point, I know you were flying while you were doing the airlines, you were picking up trips on the corporate side or private side, but at what point did that transition start to be focused more on the corporate side as opposed to the airlines?
Yeah, really, it was COVID. 2020 March, everybody knows about COVID and when it hit. And what happened was the airlines, we weren't flying. They canceled all the flights. Pilots were getting paid to sit at home. And that's what I did. Some pilots, like I had friends move to Cabo, and the airline was offering, hey, you don't have to work, but we're just going to pay you 60% of your salary, and we won't call you for like a year. Well, at the time, my girlfriend was pregnant when that offer came out. And I said, I was living on the beach, had a couple rental houses. And I went, if I'm going to have a baby, I want a nice family house. So I said, I need the income to show and buy a house. I'm glad I did that because I was able to buy a house about 12 months later that was, over my budget and whatever, but I qualified because I kept my job. But really a mutual friend of ours said, hey, we're getting really busy on the private side. Do you want to come fly some private? I go, my schedule's wide open.
Yeah.
And I got, I had to submit for a letter that you can fly on the side, and they approved it.
Really?
That's what it was. So
I didn't know how that worked. Okay.
Yeah. So you just submit, you say, hey, can I, and then what they do is they say, you can't do any charter flights because it's similar to airline for legalities, but you can fly for private owners.
Part 91.
Part 91.
Yep.
So that's where it started. So, and then as flying started coming back to the airlines, the minimum there was 6 days a month. So I said, okay, well, I'll just work 6 days a month here.
Yeah.
And then I started realizing I really like the private side because I had a lot more business experience.
Yeah.
And that's what it took.
And also the type of people that you're flying on the private side, business owners, entrepreneurs, a lot of real estate investors, and it's a great opportunity to make great connections. In 2020 is when Captain Capital started, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think for me, I always like to read financial books, just how can you spend your money better, right? As a young 20-year-old, I didn't spend my money right. I was buying stuff I couldn't afford, but I didn't want to be in that debt situation and struggling with no money ever again. So I started reading a lot of personal financial books and things like that. I think the American dream, at least what I read about, was hey, get a couple rentals, 2 or 3 rentals. So when you retire, those homes will be paid off by renters and you'll have income forever. Mm-hmm. And I think that's still the case.
Yeah.
But as I started buying rentals and realizing how much
time intensive it is,
yeah. It's okay, they were great investments. I had a lot of equity because they were in San Diego, but then it's how do you not put as much time into them, but still get investments?
Yeah.
And you're right. I started listening and realizing some of these people I'm flying were commercial real estate developers and investors.
Yeah.
They had a big team. And at the time you're oh, you got to make millions of dollars to invest in that. And it's not really true once I got some advice and started taking some classes and watching YouTube education stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can put a pool of investors together and run it as a team. And you definitely need, a good CPA. You need a good CFO. It's a big legal structure. There's a lot of legal implications.
Sure.
But I focused on, oh man, there is way more money in commercial.
Yeah.
I was flipping homes.
And let's just make sure to clarify, commercial can still be multifamily, but commercial is, 5 units or more. So, you have, on the commercial standpoint, you have, residential, which is 5 units or more. And then you have industrial, retail, restaurants, all sorts of different type of commercial assets. So
yeah,
keep going. But I think it's good to clarify that,
for sure.
There's still residential within that commercial space.
Yeah, there's people that like residential and they try and collect as many homes as they can long term. It's easier to get loans in residential.
Sure.
It really is. But it was too much time. Yeah. I was spending, my phone was ringing all day long. Then I started flipping homes. Yeah. That you didn't have to deal with tenants, you had to deal with contractors.
Yeah, you're babysitting.
And honestly, they weren't great in the residential space. And so I said, okay, well, I want to get more scale. And instead of making $100,000 on a flip, how do I make $1 million? But I didn't have enough money to make that $1 million. Mm-hmm. Well, I started figuring out you build a team of experts, and now you're doing deals that are, $1 to $2 to $3 million in profit, but you have to divvy it up. So I take a smaller piece of a bigger pie.
Exactly right.
And it's totally worth it because I actually work less now.
So, with Captain Capital, now you bring on investment. What does that process look like? Are there certain type of investors that you guys are typically looking for? Walk me through that.
Yeah. And so once you start bringing on people's money, you have a fiduciary responsibility. So you really got to take it serious,
Oh, yeah.
And we have expensive lawyers who are really good, not the cheap ones that maybe don't know the laws. So, yeah, you also have to underwrite the deal. Number one, you got to know what you're doing. You have to limit risk. We limit risk by choosing the right brokers that have 20 years experience. Yeah. It's not us going, hey, come gamble with us. You can be as smart as you think you are, but you have to have the right team.
Yeah.
So we want to grow a big business. So we have the right attorneys that really know what they're doing, where they may say, no, you shouldn't do that. That's a gray area. Where another attorney goes, it's a gray area, go ahead. I would rather just not do any gray area.
Well, and be conservative. You said, if you're conservative at every aspect of it, then you can feel comfortable. You can go to sleep at night knowing that what you're doing realistically shouldn't, it is not in the wrong.
Yeah.
I guess,
And it's
like
my parents are in my deals. My family and friends are in my deals.
Yeah. You want to protect them.
So confident in them where literally we do a thing that I learned recently, and it's, you can move some of your 401k money to a self-directed IRA.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You can control that. Literally, you can pick what real estate investment that you want to put your own 401k into. It's the biggest hack I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
I'm actually coming out with a free ebook so that people know about this, right? And you can grow wealth in there tax-free. You have to have a custodian. It doesn't, like your 401k, you don't have to withdraw it. It doesn't come to your bank account and then you wire it out. It goes to a mediary custodian, and then they double check all the documents to make sure it's legal, and the money comes out from them.
Amazing.
And I mean, for us, we're averaging, like on the low projections, like 20% a year or more.
Wow.
And I mean, when I was doing stock market, it was like, 6 to 8% is pretty average. It's inflated right now because of COVID.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They're not realistic returns. Stock market's been up 20% year over year for 5 years. And people are like, it's crazy. It's dropping right now. Nah, it's resetting.
Yeah.
It's,
Use 2019 as your baseline, and then where it's gone from there, and then still look and confirm you're over from where it was in 2019.
Yeah. And
COVID was like in the real estate market, it was just a wild ride.
It was. And there's a lot of people that made money that didn't know what they're doing during those times.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Good for them getting lucky. But to run a real business and put people that you know or don't know, their money on the line, their retirement money, like you better know what you're doing. And you better assemble the right team, and it better be legal. So what we do is we mostly now are starting to advertise to get more. It's really not even advertising, just talking on YouTube. You can't publicly speak about your deals unless it's a certain
accredited investor.
Bingo. So accredited investors. So we're only dealing with accredited investors. And what that is you have to make $200,000 per year for 2 years in a row and expect to continue that. Mm-hmm. And actually, we have to verify that. And how we verify that is they have to get a letter from their CPA, an attorney, or their financial planner. So it's on us to make sure we verify.
Yeah.
Because that's what the legal docs say.
Exactly.
But we don't have to inspect their financials. That's not our job.
Do they need to have other investments as well? Or do they need to be invested in other things before they can invest in this? Or can someone who's been earning $200,000 a year for the last couple of years say, I'm not invested in anything, this is where I want to start?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And that's correct. They don't have to be invested in anything. They just have to either make $200,000 a year for 2 years and expect it to continue, or $1 million net worth, not including your primary home.
Great.
So someone that's retired and older, and if they have a couple million in their account, they can, we're doing it right now. Retired people with an IRA, they got a couple million.
Yeah.
And to build a relationship, they're like, our minimum is 50,000. Most companies are 100. I said, no, I want to actually help people and change their lives.
Yeah.
Because we have a cost to us for every single investor, and it adds up. It's about $2,000.
Wow.
That comes out of our pocket into legal docs and everything else. And so anyways, we have retired people going, hey, we're retired. Please do as good as you can.
Don't lose this money.
We don't make promises because you can't legally. It's projections.
Yeah.
But
conservative projections.
Conservative. And my money is in there just alongside theirs.
Yeah.
And everyone on my team actually has 50,000 in the deal, or they're not in the deal.
Amazing.
So every single person, the operations manager, director of development, the CPA, everyone put money in their deal. So everyone has, money on the line.
Yeah.
And that makes us different than a lot of other companies.
Yeah. I think when an investor knows that all the other people running the show have skin in the game, it gives them some comfort, because it's not just a person who maybe just doesn't care. And it's like, oh, well, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It is what it is. You have skin in the game. Your partners have skin in the game, and you all want this to succeed for more reasons than one.
Yeah, and it's great. And it's like, you got to communicate. So I think this afternoon, I'm going to do my investor update for April, what went on in our project. And an example is clear communication and honesty. We have permit delays going on that we didn't think would happen. Our builder said, no, there should be no delays, isn't it? We've had delays.
Yeah.
You have to communicate that and like what the steps are that are going through it.
Yeah.
And then on the positive, it's like, hey, but the positive side is that he continues to get more contracts, and we have a lot of interest because we just started marketing the property.
Yeah.
So the goal is to provide great customer service, clarity, execute as well as you can. These are normal development delays.
Yeah, exactly right.
But you got to communicate. So that way, do you think if I return 50 to 90% in 24 months, are investors going to be mad if it took an extra 2 months? Probably not. They'll probably be more mad if they don't get the returns or they lose money. That'd be right. So you have to communicate, hey, I still don't think we'll delay, but in my opinion, we're delayed on starting this build than when we thought.
Yeah. Well, and at the end of the day, it all comes down to communication.
Yep.
Whether you're, managing other people's investments, whether you're a corporate pilot, whether you're a real estate agent, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Communication should be priority number one, because you have all of these people that they get nervous, they get scared when there's radio silence. They're like, oh gosh, why am I not hearing back? You know, and so that's why it always needs to be, if there is a delay, it's unfortunate news, but you know what? This is the way it is. And guys, look, here's the silver lining to it. We're continuing to market. We're continuing to get, a list of interested people who want to explore a purchase. So sure, it may take a little longer, but you're just increasing that list of interested buyers.
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of people fail to communicate, at least even people I've worked with or contractors or whatever it may be. They fail to communicate, and I go, how are you running a business over there?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? So you can learn from either I watch what other investment companies similar to mine are doing for communication. And I'm trying to do even more than other companies.
Yeah, go above and beyond.
Go above and beyond. So we're doing an investor retreat in October in Houston.
Amazing.
And we're going to get a nice limo bus, and we're going to tour all of our investors. We'll have 2 projects at the time being built. Yeah. One should be close to being done. And we're going to host a lunch, and we're going to go golfing at a country club. So investors can come spend time with my whole team.
Touch it, feel it.
Touch it,
talk
feel
to
it,
your partners.
talk to the builder's going to be there. The broker will be there.
Yeah.
So guess what? I think it's cool. A lot of people don't do that. I've seen a couple people do it, and I've asked big businesses. I'm like, so are you doing investor annual retreats or anything? And they were like, no, we don't actually. And I'm like, cool. I'm going to try and I want to be way up above on that.
Yeah, one up it.
Yeah. Exactly. So we'll do Houston this year, and next year we might go to Cabo as a team.
Yeah.
And just invite people, bring their families. It's not just investor only. Bring the kids. My kids are coming.
Yeah.
See that I'm just a person.
That's exactly right.
I work really hard, and I want people to come along for the ride.
And it puts people's minds at ease. Yeah. Really, because it's scary. Investing your money is scary, and that's why a lot of people, have that under the mattress money, because they're nervous that someone is going to take it from them.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I think there's people invest with you because they trust you. And a couple of the billionaires I fly, they say, oh no, we don't invest in the business. We invest in the founder.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? This one guy I fly for, he's like, I didn't invest in Uber. The guy was an asshole. Didn't trust him. Even though Uber was very successful, he, from the video on Netflix and all that, is a great video or whatever series, he was a kind of a hothead. He didn't listen to the backers financially.
Yeah.
So it's wild to see, but I realized that. I'm like, oh, people don't just invest for the returns. That's just one aspect.
They need to trust you.
They need to trust you.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I think podcasts and I put out content just to teach people.
Yeah. Being a real estate broker, there's so many things that I have to do in my day-to-day. I have to create content for social media so I remain top of mind. A big focus for me, very similar to you, is education. I'm making a whole series for buyers and sellers on all the steps of a process, because I just want to educate people. Even if you're not going to work with me, watch these videos, because there is so much that goes on that, quite frankly, is bullshit. And you see these videos, or I'll watch a video and I'm like, you're leaving out all of these components that a person really needs to know, because you're trying to create your own narrative. So I digress. But basically my point, I have to create Instagram, YouTube content, Facebook, LinkedIn, all this stuff. Additionally, I have to sell houses. I have to sell industrial buildings, because I have to be the broker that generates the income. Plus, I'm a part-time therapist with my clients and everything else that comes along. And so realizing an accountant and bookkeeper and, all the things. And so realizing that, okay, what's the support staff to bring on needs to be important. And obviously you can't, depending on where a person is in their career, maybe you can't afford it, but you start to figure out how you do that. And so one of the best things I did last year was hiring Emily, my assistant. It freed up time that is invaluable. I mean, just even the little things with coordinating with you and saying, okay, great. Curtis, what is your schedule like on these days? Like, okay, great. That's not going to work. Let's redo this. And it's those small things throughout the day that made a huge impact on time. And so I think that's a great point and very important to have, is that you need to create your own team so you can focus on what's generating income for you.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's what Dan Martell talks about is, and I'm still trying to implement this, what is your best and highest use of your time?
Yeah.
Right? Mine is not bookkeeping. I have a full-time bookkeeper, but guess what? Every evening or a couple times a week, I just make sure, hey, I need this report or I need this. Did we get paid from this? I don't need to go log into my bank accounts and look. I mean, I kind of need to track money, but I do it like once a week. I let the bookkeeper do that full time.
Yeah, you don't need to be doing your auditing.
Yeah.
Review the reports.
So like, and I used to do a lot of it myself. I did all my bookkeeping. I used to file my own taxes. Yeah. No, now when you start making more money, hey, I have a better CPA who's my tax strategist now.
Yeah.
So if you ask me all the things I'm doing, I could tell you a couple.
Yeah.
But I have a professional for that I pay more money for.
And you understand it though. I think that's
True.
The most important. And that's where a lot of these very successful individuals or entrepreneurs, they started at the bottom, they worked their way up, they understand every component of a business to where now they can go on and review the reports on a weekly basis, look out on a nightly basis and understand what they're reading, but not spending 3 hours a day generating that information.
Yeah. And I think something that I'm focused on that you're doing a good job with the podcast stuff is I launched my own podcast. You have to create SOPs and to do tasks because you have to give them tools to succeed. And from my experience, I haven't done a great job. Like I brought in a content team. And it's like, hey, I'm the vision, but I need help with this. And they're like, okay, well, what do you want? I'm like, okay, hold on. Let me get you fonts and colors and a branding kit and only use this stuff.
Yeah, your brand guidelines.
All this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, brand guidelines. That has helped already.
Yeah.
So now there's no talk about text, font size, any of that. We're solved that. But what I need to be better at is putting that in an SOP. So if that editing team goes away or they don't do a good job and I need a new team, boom, look at my pages and here's my SOPs for content.
So, and I mean, as a pilot, that's exactly, you get in the front seat and you start flipping through the book. I mean, sure, it becomes second nature and it's muscle memory, but at the same time, you're like, okay, great. Before starting the engine, here's the 6 steps that I do. You have SOPs, standard operating procedures for literally everything. And so we've done that. Emily and I have done that. Okay, when we have a new buyer we're working with, here are the steps. And we have outlined literally every single thing all the way down to the follow-up a year later and everything in between through that entire process. And I agree with you. It's so important to have that breakdown because if that editing team leaves, if you have an assistant and she maybe gets promoted to something else and then you're hiring someone new, here you go. Here's the breakdown. And something else that we did that may be worth trying, I record all of the videos. I'll do literally a screen record when I'm explaining something with a tutorial, like I'm a voiceover. And then Emily takes that, she creates the SOP from that, and then there's a video that goes with it. And, time blocking, at least for me, has been super important. And, having that consistency in day to day.
Yeah. And I think for people that want to be entrepreneurs, whether like if you want to be a pilot and work for yourself, kind of like what I do, you have to time block. And if you don't know what time blocking is, there's plenty of stuff out there on YouTube for free.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this, when I go back to my office after this visit, I just got like a timer for my computer or for my desk. Literally you set the time for a project.
I'm going to work on this for 20 minutes.
And my phone's going off.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. There's nothing on my calendar important. I have a 12 o'clock and a 2 o'clock today.
Yeah.
That's it. Those are my important stuff, right?
Yeah.
They can't be adjusted. So now I'll go back to my office and go, oh, I got an invoice to do because money is important to pay for this. I'm going to set 30-minute timer. Phone's like on do not disturb. Nobody can get me.
Yep.
And I'm going to give myself 30 minutes. So instead of checking social media or responding to an email, that was a problem in my past. Like you're focused on something and then you get an email and maybe it is important, but guess what? It would have been just fine in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not one that you needed right now. So I'd be all over the place. Like, oh, hold on. I missed that today. I missed that. So I was doing so much that you're unorganized. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are like that.
Well, you try to multitask. You think that you can do 1,000 things at one time, but then the thing that you're actually trying to do takes twice as long.
Yep.
I was listening to a Tom Ferry interview, and he was talking about multitasking and it's specifically for agents, but it translates to everyone. And if he just stopped what he was doing, exactly like you said, set a timer, I'm going to focus on just this, there were less errors, it was done quicker, and the quality was better. I mean, there's no question that just like don't be a jack of all trades, don't try and multitask when there's one specific task that needs to be focused on. You've been great about mentoring pilots from your experience and, being there to help.
It's definitely a hard thing. So my pilot content actually drew a lot of pilots, which I wasn't. I was really putting out pilot content. And what I mean by that, private jet content, like, hey, this is how much it costs to go from the West Coast to the East Coast in a Gulfstream. Yeah. And people are like, $20,000 in gas. And that's pretty crazy for one flight, right?
Yeah. And plus pilots, plus landing fees, plus
so that
the jet
was like
maintenance.
The content, and all of a sudden it drew a bunch of pilots. Hey, I'm working, I'm trying to find a job. How do I become a Gulfstream pilot? And it's like, we're talking thousands of messages as I grew, like quickly.
Wow.
Well, I don't have time. I in the beginning, I was like responding, giving advice and all this, and it's great. And then I went, oh my gosh, like I can't get to everybody.
Yeah.
So I started making posts like, hey, okay, I'll just do questions for an hour because I'm in an Uber. I'll give you my hour. What do you got? And then that way multiple people can see the answer to that question. Like, what's the best way to network? I'm like, great. Facebook groups, LinkedIn, I think is huge for pilots. And also having a smile on your face, looking professional, and talking to pilots at the FBOs. FBOs are like where the pilots and passengers hang out.
Yeah.
So I tell people, just go hang out there. If you live in Carlsbad, just go to the FBO, look presentable, say hi to pilots.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm a lower pilot. I'm looking for a job. Like, you have to put yourself out there and go get it.
Yeah.
And too many people, whether it's real estate or flying, they just want people to come to them and pay them money. Yeah. Like they're sitting at home going, no, I can't get a job. That's what's out there. And it's like, hold on. So you guys that are extra motivated, like send me a message.
Yeah.
And I have a small pilot community. It's like $40 a month. It doesn't make any money. It pays enough for the software. Those are the serious people that like I paid a resume review person to make us a 30-minute video. I have a good resume. I'm not the expert. I let an expert that's reviewed 9,000 resumes.
Yeah.
And I put that in a community, and the 50 people that pay $40 a month, they got the access to that. And they got access to all these leads where I paid an assistant. Hey, and they got links to job applications in there.
Wow.
And so people, and people are like, oh, well, it costs money to be in your community. I don't have much money. I've been there. If you don't have $40 a month, go in there and sign up for 1 month, take all the resources and leave. Yeah. I don't care because $40 a month does not change my life.
Yeah, it's not making you money. It's paying for the software, like you said.
I go, it's $0, but I do love help. Like there's doctors in there. They quit being a doctor because he wants to be a pilot. Amazing. There are a PC-12 captain, and guess what? He's taking guys in the right seat.
Really?
Literally 250-hour guys, and he's doing it out of the goodness of his heart.
Yeah,
and
come build some time.
Yeah, and he wants to fly a Gulfstream. So guess what? He has my cell phone number. He doesn't abuse it. And I'm like, dude, I think it's awesome that you're taking some of these younger guys in the right seat. It's awesome.
That's huge.
I believe in having mentors. I mean, I'm in a mastermind with a mentor, and it's $20,000 a year. A couple years ago, I wouldn't have paid that. I wouldn't have had the money. And even now it's like, ooh, $20,000 a year. It does add up. It's almost $2,000 a month. Then we go to quarterly meetings that cost, you got to fly out to Charlotte in next month. I'm excited for it though, because I'm around 300 people.
Yeah.
And there's probably 50 developers. We break out into a development room.
And not to mention the people you meet while you're there.
Oh yeah. And these are all people, you have to be like interviewed to get in and vetted. You have to be doing a lot of significant deals.
Yeah.
And it was cool because I'm like, oh, I'm like newer to commercial development. And he's like, no. You have done all these different asset classes that you will provide value somewhere else. Or your content is super good and you're good at marketing. You can talk about that to these guys making $10 million in development because they're bad marketers.
But
they know how to develop it.
Which is wild.
So during my interview call, he's like, I'd love to have you. And then it's like, I got a 2-hour strategy session in his office 2 weeks ago. And it's like, holy crap, my business is focused. And his thing was be focused on one and put and execute.
Yeah. Which is exactly what you're doing.
And that's what I'm paying for.
That's amazing.
Like, so it's crazy where I think anybody find the right coach. You know what I mean? Find the right coach and mentor. It's a shortcut to success. And you have to implement. In the beginning, I had a financial goal, and that number always changed as success starts coming.
Oh, yeah,
but
of course.
One of the goals is in the next 3 years, I want to have an option to quit flying.
Okay.
So fly when I want. I believe I need 3 years. Development takes 2 to 3 years to kind of get paid on. The other real goal is, so basically freedom, right? The other real goal is like, I would like to develop $100 million in industrial real estate in the next 5 years. So you have to have the end goal and then work backwards.
Yeah.
Because what does $100 million get me? It's not necessarily what it gets me. It gets a whole team or other investors, and really like $100 million of industrial real estate can happen pretty quick. Yeah. My first deal is $6 million. Our second deal will sell for $16 million.
Amazing.
And we're closing that one. So yes, those projects will take 2 to 3 years, But
that's 22 million right there.
That's 22 million.
You're well on your way.
So now my deals are going bigger and bigger. Our next piece of land that I'm going to offer on this week, our first project's 32,000. Our second one is 74,000.
Wow.
So it's like, okay, I want another small one and then I want a big one. There's 240,000 square foot development that I already offered on, and the seller's like, we're ready to sign. What's going on? I'm like, let me close this mobile home park. Let me close on May 15th on this other land. We have another contract to sell. I'm selling the assets that are a pain in my butt or because I want to focus. So I'm like, let me close a few of these and then
and they don't pertain to your triple net industrial in Houston.
Exactly.
So get rid of the fat. And focus on where your goals are.
Yeah. And so, I mean, those are my big real estate goals it's develop $100 million, right? I don't even know what that profit will do for the company. The other big goal is run a lean small business. I do not, because my real goal is to take my family on vacation and be able to do what I'm doing from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Right. I don't need.
Back to freedom.
I want freedom. And that's what this meeting I had recently is I want freedom in the next 3 years. Because as an entrepreneur, everybody thinks, oh, it's cool. You run your business. You work 9 to 5. No, I wake up at 5 a.m., go to the gym. I start working at 7 a.m.
Yeah. You work 24/7.
100%.
Yeah.
And I try and sleep. That's a big hack that I'm trying to get better at. But with 2 little kids, it's really hard.
Oh, yeah.
But when you're well rested, you're way more productive. So yeah, I want to change as many lives as I can through investing, whether that's free YouTube education or if people want to come invest with me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the short term. Is it 3 years? I want to be financially free, mortgages paid off, and I don't need the flashy stuff. So I'm like, my girlfriend retired in December, so she takes care of the kids, which is great.
I mean, that's a harder job than you have.
It is. Honestly, it is. 100%.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love my kids and I love being dad in the afternoon and I like working.
Yeah.
And it's good to have the same family support. And it's like, literally I told her 3 more years of hard work, which means flying, office.
Yeah, grinding.
Yeah. And then I've done well enough now that I could not grind, but I want more than a mediocre life.
Exactly.
I don't want to settle.
Well, you've got your goals and you want to achieve those goals. And at the same time, you're generating great income through flying and you're deploying it into the real estate side, which is your long-term. That's the retirement plan.
Yeah.
That's how you can buy and earn your freedom.
Yeah. And it's like, I used to growing up, it's like, oh, I can't wait. I'm going to get a 401k and it's just going to be worth whatever 20 years later. Now I'm like, I'm anti 401k.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't do it. If you work for a job and they match, make sure you're matching.
Yeah.
But I believe there's better, more controlled money. In my opinion, it's real estate.
Yeah.
Some people might want to start a business. It's a lot of work, but there's people that are like, hey, I want to become a real estate investor. Literally one of my partners now, I'm like, hey, you can shortcut 10 years of my knowledge and you could come work with me.
Yeah.
And be an equity partner, invest
Amazing.
in it and learn. And he's my director of operations.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, you're smart. I had him over to the house for dinner with the family and I'm like, you're my type of guy.
Yeah.
And he's going to shortcut 10 years.
That's amazing.
He's going straight into industrial
learn from
real
other
estate.
people's wisdom.
Yep.
That's exactly.
And every time I go to Houston, I go once a month to meet with the builder, check on projects. He goes every single time.
Yeah.
And I go, you don't have to come. He goes, no, I'll spend the money and go and meet you there.
He wants to learn.
He goes, I learned so much from you and the builder and we shoot content.
Yeah.
And it's just all education.
I love it.
So
I love it. Well, thank you. So, okay. Last thing, tell us where everyone can find you.
Yeah. So Instagram, I'm pretty big on the Captain Kurt with a C. CaptainCapital.com is our website. We have some education on what we do in FlexSpace. If you're interested in investing, you can click on the investment form and book a call just to see if we're the right fit. We don't take everybody. We want to make sure we're working with the right people as well.
Yeah, it's all a team. You want to build that team.
Yep, exactly. And YouTube, it's the Captain Kurt. I think it's _. I'm just starting to put a lot of real estate content out.
That's amazing. Well, I can't wait. I've been so impressed watching the growth. Like I said, from back, 20 plus years ago before flying and seeing what you've accomplished throughout the years. And it's just really motivating, impressive, and it's just awesome. So thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, same to you, man. It's awesome watching you in real estate, and both of us were flying and you went hard into real estate and I'm trying to chase you a little bit now.
I love it.
So,
it's great.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Dan.
Cool. Thanks, guys.